Flosstube, my name is Allie and this is Allie Stitches. This is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. Welcome to my Flosstube episode number 2. This is December 27th, 2020, and this episode is coming 3 weeks after my first episode. Thank you to everyone who is returning after seeing my first video. I just really appreciate all of the kind words, comments, and support, and just really, I wasn't surprised because I know this community is just so great, but it's really great to feel the love from everyone. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. And then also, if you're new to my channel, welcome as well. Happy to have you here and happy to share my projects with you today. Either way, make sure that you are subscribed and hit the subscribe button below. That would be great so that I can continue to show up in your feed with videos about my cross stitch. So yeah, with that, I'll get started. So one thing I did not do during my first video is give a full introduction of myself. So I thought I'd do that here today now that you've seen a few of my projects. So yeah, like I said, my name is Allie. I live in Iowa. I live in the Des Moines metro area. I've lived in Iowa my whole life, but not necessarily in the Des Moines area. So, but I am an Iowa girl through and through. I am married to my husband, Corey. He's fantastic. We do not have any kids, but we do have a dog, Mulligan. If you watched my first video, you get to see him towards the end of that video. He's a lot of fun. For work, I am an actuary. I work for an insurance company in Des Moines here. And if you're not familiar with what an actuary is, that's totally okay. You can Google it, and I won't have to bore anyone here with what that is. But in terms of what my kind of day-to-day looks like, it is kind of a typical office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday type of job. So I am working from home right now, have been since March, and probably will be for the foreseeable future. So that's what my job situation looks like right now. I guess next I can talk about how I got into cross stitch. So I learned to cross stitch many years ago as a young girl from my grandmother. She taught me and my cousin, we were about the same age. So I remember, learning to cross stitch from my grandma while we were both staying at her house, when we were little, when our parents were out of town or something like that. And yeah, so that's when I learned how to cross stitch. I really didn't pick it up as a hobby though until this year. I think I, maybe attempted to start projects here or there over the years, but never really kind of latched onto it as a hobby until COVID and the pandemic. So, obviously very unfortunate situation, but, being in the pandemic, I was trying to find things to do with my time. Started out with doing a lot of reading and puzzles, but then was just, continuing to find something, and I kind of looked into starting a cross stitch project, since I knew that was something that I enjoyed doing at various points in my life, but never really even finished a project in the past. And so I started a project back in May and worked on that for a little bit, and then found another project to do as a baby shower gift for a friend. So I stitched her a project. And then I just continued to do more kind of research and looking up, how to do certain things or whatever. I don't even know what I was looking up, but stumbled upon, Flosstube and the cross stitch kind of universe that exists. So I knew there was a Facebook group for pretty much anything ever. And so, looked up some cross stitch groups, joined a few, and that's really kind of where just the immense network of designers and, just the community that exists became apparent to me. And that's kind of when things kind of really took off and got carried away in a good way. So fast forward to today, and I now have lots of projects, lots of whips, lots of ideas, still trying to kind of hit my groove in terms of my style, of things that I'm drawn to, but I'm loving everything that I'm doing, and it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, so if you've watched my first video, you know, some of the projects that I was working on, I centered that video on kind of Christmas and winter projects that I had been working on or were kind of coming up or this or that. And so I will give an update on some of the things that I worked on here in the last 3 weeks. And I thought I'd also then just share kind of all of my finishes really from 2020. Kind of stole this idea from Noah's Stitches, and he, you know, was doing a 2020 finish parade, and so mine will effectively be the same as in 2020 finishes, but because I didn't really start stitching until 2020, at least as a hobby, you know, continuous stitching, if you will, really this is like all of my finishes. So it's not a lot in general, but it'll be good to see them all. So yeah, I'll start out with my WIP update on any of the projects that I had showed last time that I'm still not done with. I'll show kind of maybe some of the progress that I made on some of those pieces. I do have, I think I counted 3 finishes from last time, so things I was working on before and then I've finished. So that's exciting. They're all fairly small pieces, or, you know, I was even fairly far into them, so they're not significant finishes by any means, but they are still finishes, and that's fun. But I'll include those in my finished parade so you can see those. So I think I just have 3 WIPs to show you of things that I worked on since my last video, that I also showed during my last video. Everything I've worked on in December here and since my last video has all been like Christmas or winter related. So and I showed all of those projects in my last video. So all right, so the first WIP I'll show you is my Mary Chock-full jar. So this is the design. It's by Hands On Design, Kathy Haberman. And I am doing the jar for right now. I'll do the Mary small here at some point, but I've been working on the jar, and I'm gonna try to do better about showing not only the pattern, or not the pattern, but the finished design and my progress. So I'll put a picture here, hopefully, of where I had it last time when I showed you. And this is where I am now. Oh, that is the back. And I'm just gonna leave that in there because Carla, Rolodex Stitches, made a joke about that. Some other Flosstuber made that mistake as well, but just laughed it off. So we're just gonna laugh it off. But yeah, so this is what I have of Mary Chock-full, and that is washing out quite a bit. But yeah, so I've done a lot more of the white, more of the beards, filled in Santa's skin on all of the faces there. So yeah, made a decent amount of progress on this. I worked on this kind of right before we did some traveling for, you know, the holidays. I knew I might not have great lighting with going to some of our destinations, and so I tried to focus on this for a few days right before we left, and then I just didn't bring it with me because it is a darker fabric, and, you know, I just didn't want to. I just figured it might be easier to prioritize projects that I knew might be easier if I don't have the greatest lighting. So yeah, I didn't work on it a ton, but got a fair amount of progress on it. So that's exciting. We'll see how much more I do here before really putting it away for the year and seeing maybe if I want to get it out next year. That'll probably be the way to go since I still have quite a bit on it, even though I know it will probably stitch up fairly quick, but we'll just see how that goes. All right. My next WIP that I worked on, this is one I did take with me traveling, but I didn't end up working on it a lot because I had some other stuff I was working on that I'll show you later, but was the Caterpillar cross stitch stitch along, the Christmas stitch along this year. It was Hello Dear, part of her seasonal trees collection. So I will put a picture of like the finished design here, and then also where I was last time I showed it to you, which I don't even remember where that was exactly, so that'll be helpful. But this is where I am now. So working down more, I got quite a bit of the deer. You can see this is my needle minder. You can watch my last video to get a little more details on that. But yeah, there's the deer, and I know I probably finished some things kind of right in here since my last video. So I'm getting close to a finish on this. You can see it's all wrinkled up here, so I apologize for that. But getting pretty close to a finish. I have a fair amount of work yet to do. Like I said, I got distracted by some other projects, so maybe if I put some more attention toward this. I know it is a Christmas piece for sure, just given you know, the Santa hat on the robin and like the poinsettias. But to a large extent, I think this can also just be a winter pattern. You know, there's a lot of just winter stuff, you know, the scarf and the snowflakes and things like that. So I might just continue to work on it into January and February, or whenever I end up finishing it. Even though it is technically a Christmas piece, but I think it kind of works for the winter as well. Oops, sorry, I just kind of kicked my makeshift camera stand here. Yeah, so that's one of my whips. And then my last whip, I was just working on it this morning, is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Their Christmas Wreath Club Stitch Along. I think that's what it's called. Christmas Wreath. And they are releasing one part of this about once a month. I think it's every 4 weeks or something like that. But they just released the second part last weekend. And like I said, we had been doing some traveling and everything, so I haven't gotten a lot of time to work on this, but I am working on it now. And last time I think I was done with part 1 in my last video. This is the design, the cover page of the design. It is a mystery stitch along, so not everything has been released yet, hence why some of it is blurred out and everything. But they have released the second part, which is that bow. And so this is where I am at with mine. And I will talk about that guy later. But this is where I'm at. So I know I showed the house last time, so I'm not going to take it off in the Q-snap. But I got to start on the bow. And I noticed this morning that I made an error, and I'm going to have to be frogging some of this. So I missed like one of these sections. There's like sections of just a couple stitches. I missed one of those when I was coming down this way. So it's obvious now that I noticed it, but my bow is not symmetrical because it's missing some of that, and therefore I miscounted, or not, I counted correctly off of what I had, but some of these little peach colored diamonds are then kind of off. So just noticed this, and once I noticed it, that's when I stopped. Just like set it down and did other things for the day. But I'll still need to frog out all of that and redo some of that. But that's where I'm at with that. So this will all be filled in with that other kind of pinky red, peachy color. So filling that in, once I get all these kind of diamonds in, and then filling that in will take some time, but at least have the frame of it kind of done and can see the size of it and everything. So that's really fun, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stick this in somewhere randomly in the video because I almost forgot about it. But I wanted to share also, and you might see it a little bit in one part of the video here, but with some Christmas gifts that my sweet, sweet husband got me for Christmas that were Stitchy related things. He wasn't sure what to get me. I didn't really give him any ideas necessarily for stitchy things, but he, you know, kind of did some research on what some good presents for, you know, stitchy people would like to receive. So he did a great job and found me some needle minders on Etsy. So this was the first one that he got me, or that I opened at least. And it's a little porcupine and a pin cushion, and the little porcupine's in love with the pin cushion because they're, you know, similar. And it just, I don't know, it just was really cute. And I thought it was really fun. So he got me that one. This is from Snarky Crafter Designs. And I believe, I went to go look at what else she had for needle minders. And I think she actually does not have any of her like physical items, so needle minders, on her Etsy shop right now. I think she's going to put them back up in January once she's back to, or, you know, she probably just was taking a break and whatnot. So, but that's the logo and whatnot, so you can find that Etsy page, Snarky Crafter Designs. And then the other needle minder he got me was this little A. A little cute design in the back. It's kind of a floral, but like a crafty floral. It's like little pump, you know, buttons and things like that. I don't know if it's focusing very well. Yeah, and he found this one. This is Miss Dottie's needle minders, and I did not necessarily look up this Etsy shop, so I'll have to go do that and see what else they have. But those were needle minders that my husband got me for Christmas, so I was very appreciative of that. And, you know, to see that he is, you know, supporting this hobby of mine, it was really, really sweet of him. So, yeah, I just wanted to give a little plug for that, I guess, haul. You can maybe kind of call it haul, but more just Flossmas, maybe. Maybe I'll call it Flossmas. But Christmas gifts from my husband. So I'll just stick that in here somewhere else, and then the video can take off. Pick up where it left off. Well, words. Bye. So I'm really enjoying this pattern so far. I realize I haven't been saying what I'm stitching these things on. So this is 32 count Belfast linen, or yeah, Belfast linen is 32 count, I guess, in the color gingerbread. And I do like this with the rest of the pattern for the most part. I think I might have to change the color brown on some of the things that were around the house. I think I talked about that in my last video. But that's what I have that on. I'll go back here real quick. My Hello Dear, this is Belfast linen, just in kind of a plain white color. I got this at Hobby Lobby, I think, actually. So easy enough to find. And then my Mary jar. This is on Belfast linen in charcoal that I got off of 123 Stitch. And I also got the gingerbread off of 123 Stitch. So that is my fabric. And I believe as far as threads, I mostly use DMC if I think it makes the most sense. The only exception I'm making on these ones I've showed so far is on the Hands-On Design Mary. I am going to do the jar and the Santa hats in the called for Classic Colorworks, but I'm using like DMC Blanc for all the white, and then even the green Santa skin. I'm using just a DMC conversion for those. But one other comment. My nails look atrocious, so please forgive me for my nails. I really need to get them done. They've cracked apart, and you know, I wanted to get them done before the holidays, but that just didn't happen. So maybe I'll get them done this week, but hopefully you'll forgive me. Yeah, so those are the whips that I have that I've worked on in the last few weeks. Anything else that I showed in my last video, either I haven't worked on or I did work on it and it's a finish. So I will show those in my finish parade that I'm going to start here soon. So, yeah, like I said earlier, I started stitching back in May. Actually, the first project I started in May, I like went into Michael's looking for, you know, a new project to do, and I was like, okay, cross stitch, I'm going to do this. And so I went to the, you know, saw the DMC thread and was there, and I, on my phone, went to Etsy and like found a pattern and everything. I'll show that project in a little, like in a later video. It's actually kind of considered a UFO in my mind right now. Kind of just a lot of things went wrong, kind of beginners mistakes. You know, I'm not truly a beginner, but hadn't really touched cross stitch in a very long time. And now the more I know about cross stitch, the more I just like cringe at what I did for that first project. And I'm sure plenty of people will say it's perfectly fine, but I just don't have the desire to work on it anymore. So that first project that I did is a UFO, so I won't be, or as of right now is a UFO, so I will not be finishing it, at least in the near future. But some of the other projects that I've done since then, what I'm considering my first finish then is this modern butterfly floral design here, and I was terrible about making notes, and I do not have the designer off the top of my head right now or my notes, so I'll put that on the screen as well. This is the design, or kind of the Etsy, you know, picture of it. This was a design that I started in July for a gift for a friend for their baby shower. They were having a butterfly themed shower for their baby girl that they were expecting, or you know, they were expecting, and you know, that was going to be the theme of their nursery as well. And so I found this pattern on Etsy, and they were, you know, they had their baby in fall, and so I thought it would be a nice fall kind of color scheme for the nursery, or would go well with that. So I stitched this, and this is a picture of the finished product. Because it was a gift, I no longer have it in my possession, so I gave it to those friends, and they said that they would hang it up in the nursery. So that was a fun project to work on for them. So that was what I would consider my first finish. My second finish, and I'm not entirely sure actually, this might have been finished before my other one, but I was not writing down specific dates for these things, so I can't remember specifically. So this might have been my first finish actually, but I'm kind of just calling the other one my first finish for now. But this pattern is, gosh, I didn't write any designer names down for some of these like Etsy patterns, but it is the Sacred Heart of Jesus by the name I'll put on the screen here, and this is the finished design. So one thing that I didn't include in my introduction about myself, I am Catholic. I'm a practicing Catholic, and so I won't talk about that too much here on my channel, but you know, as an important part of my life, the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is a heart on fire with the crown of thorns kind of around it, is, you know, a significant kind of image about, you know, Jesus' love for us. And so I found this pattern on Etsy and thought it was a really beautiful way to turn my cross stitch into something that represented, you know, my faith. And so stitch that. So that's my second finish. And then the rest of these finishes, I don't necessarily have an order, but because I was doing a lot of like series and things, I kind of wanted to keep some of those all together. So the next one I was going to share, I don't have with me right now. So the next finish that I'm going to show is part of the series of the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Hello Dear. So the one that I'm working on now, that was the Christmas pattern, so the winter seasonal tree is what I'm calling them. But she did release the fall one earlier, the prior year, and it was called Hello Pumpkin, and I stitched that earlier this year, so in the fall. So sorry about the creases. I did iron it, you know, when I was done with it, but I have some creases now that it's kind of been folded up. Should really hang these in the closet or something. But yeah, so that's the finished piece there. And I just love this piece. This is one of the first ones that I really just absolutely loved when I, you know, was kind of starting to do a lot of research and see a lot of different designers and stuff online. And her stuff was coming up a lot on different groups that I was in, or Instagram, or this or that. But I just absolutely loved this design. So that was a finish that I had. And of course I didn't write down any details that might be interesting, but I finished that in the fall. So there is that. All right, so some of the other finishes that I have, I shared in my last video my Brooks Books Advent Animals, and I shared that I had finished Katie Kitty, which is number 1 in the series of 25 of these Advent Animals. These are stitched on Belfast linen in blue spruce, which is a similar, or the same fabric that Nell at Little Yellow House Crafts stitched hers on. So kind of stole her, or you know, was inspired by her piece. Stitched these in the called for DMC colors. And the only change I made, which was again kind of inspired by Nell, is I did just a 1 stitch wide border. The called for is actually a back stitched border, still striped like that, but did that. Nell, what she did was she did like 2 stitches wide, so her border is just a little bit thicker than mine. So mine's kind of a compromise of the two designs, or the 2 ways to do it. Yeah, so that was another finish that I had quite a bit earlier in the year before I got carried away with some of the fall patterns I was doing. And then last time I had shown I had started back kind of closer to when I finished this one. I had started the second one, which was Peter Polar Bear. So this is what I had started last time I showed you. And this is the finished piece. So Peter Polar Bear, he's number 2 in the series, and he's got his hot cocoa there, the mug, and of course his sweater that says I Heart Cocoa. Yeah, so that was a fun finish. So I was glad to get that one finished. I have not started the third one. It is a mouse. I know that. I can't remember the name of it, but we'll see when I get that one started. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess I didn't start it necessarily, but had plenty of other options or projects to work on, so there was that. All right, the next finishes I'm going to show you are part of the Hands-on Design A Year in Chalk series. And last time I showed you my progress on the December design, which was Peace on Earth was the design, was the kind of phrase of the design. But really I started these back in September, and I have been stitching 1 a month since then. And I've been stitching the 1 of the month. I kind of start them basically around the 1st of the month, and then finish them, pretty quickly, within usually like a week. And then I move on to, the rest of my projects that I, have going on. So I have now the September, October, November, and December ones done. And I have fully finished 3 of those 4. So the fully finished the September, October, and November ones. So here they are. This is the September design, Summer Don't Go. And what I did for finishing these, this is, I feel like, a pretty common finishing technique. I just used mounting board. I used 1 layer of cotton batting, and then kind of glued everything for the top piece here. The bottom one is just the fabric, and then I just, glued that on using tacky glue. Sorry, I'm losing my thoughts here, but so that is the September design. And then I also put magnets on the back, similar to kind of how some of these monthly series people do this. And I found this chalkboard at Hobby Lobby, and I'm not crazy about this idea. I would not recommend this idea, but what I did was take a fridge magnet that you can buy, like the blank adhesive ones at Hobby Lobby, and I just cut it into 4 pieces and glued them up here. And it's not very strong, but it does hold well enough. If you line up all 4 magnet pieces with it. Yeah, so that's my finish that I have for those pieces. So again, this is the September one. This is the October one. Boo, let them eat candy. And this kind of not checked. Gosh, I'm losing it here. This little chevron or zigzag kind of fabric there for that one. The September one was kind of a little bit of like you can kind of see it there, almost like a sunburst or like a flower. It's kind of a yellow design there. And then my November one, Thankful and Grateful. This one had little acorns on the fabric that I chose, which kind of went well with the acorns on the design. So these 3 I have fully finished, so that I can put them on the chalkboard here. And actually, when I went home to my parents for Thanksgiving, I brought this with, and I also made a little bow to kind of go onto the piece. Ugh. I haven't figured out a way to attach it. I literally just put like a paper clip on the back and just kind of like hooked it, and then we just like let it sit still, but I have to figure out a way to attach it. But this was kind of how I had it displayed. My mom hosted Thanksgiving for family, and so I had it on display at her house then. So that was a lot of fun. And this ribbon, or this bow, this ribbon is from Dollar Tree. This is $1 for, a roll that probably had about twice as much as what you see here on it. And then these are actually paper napkins that I cut up and made a little bow out of. Just old paper napkins from prior year's Thanksgiving gatherings. And then this button was just a button that my mom had laying around, but it went well. It kind of coordinates with the ribbon pretty well. Sorry, the lighting, it might not be great here. Losing daylight hours here, so but that is what I used to just create this bow. So it's all very cheap to make that, but that's what I have going there. And then, so those are the 3 designs that I already had done prior to last video, and those are the ones that I have fully finished. But in the last few weeks, I did also finish the December design, which is Peace on Earth. Sorry, you can like see my candle in the background of my pieces here. But this one is Peace on Earth. And the only thing I changed I did not change anything about the other pieces other than I used DMC instead of the called for threads, but this one I did change these leaves here. You can't really see it, I feel like, on camera as well, but I just changed those little leaves to have berries on the end instead of, it was charted in just white for all of that, but I wanted to just add a little bit more red to the design. Yeah, so these are using DMC Blanc and then, just kind of the coordinating color, whatever was converted or whatever I kind of chose as a close match to what the other one was. And then I'm stitching them on the Belfast linen in charcoal, similar to my Mary Chockfull design. So those done. All right. And then my next finish is another design by Hands On Design, Kathy Haberman. And I'll put a picture here first of, I do have the pattern, but not right near me, of the design. Pumpkin Spice Farm is the name of it. And I kind of forgot about this until I started to go or gather up my things to make a video, but I am still halfway through fully finishing this object. So I have the finish here and most of the work done to finish it into a pillow. So as you can see, here's my finish. And I am making a pillow out of this, like the pattern kind of had in the picture. I thought it was just perfect size. Here's my hand. It's not a very big pillow. A little pillow nonetheless. And this was the fabric that I chose for the back. Just a big check pattern on the fabric. And I do not sew. That's not something I do a lot of it. To say I've never sewn before this project would be a lie, but I don't, as a strict rule, or as not a strict rule, as a general rule, I don't sew. So I had to borrow my friend's sewing machine and had to use a lot of her tips and tricks. She does know how to, close or, do an invisible stitch to close a pillow like this, but she said it would be easier for me to look it up online, and, she wasn't confident in being able to teach me how to do it. So, I will have to continue that venture to finish that. And then I did purchase the Lady Dot Creates, see how much I paid for it. The Lady Dot Creates Jack chenille trim. And so I'll use that somehow to, attach it to the edge, similar to how the pattern kind of called to do it. So really the only thing I didn't do according to the pattern was the backing, back fabric. She had another Lady Dot Creates, I believe, piece of velveteen or something like that. So I did not purchase that, but I did find this check at Hobby Lobby. So that's my pillow. And because I had never sewn before and I wanted to, or not never sewn before, but wanted to test it out, first I had a lot of that fabric. So I made two just like mini pillows to go with it. We'll see how I end up kind of sewing them shut and displaying them. They kind of mismatch in terms of the check, I guess, but so those as a set will kind of just go together well, sitting in some sort of basket or something. I thought would be cute once I get them all stitched up. So that was one of my fall projects, the fall finish. All right, and then another finish that I have shown here before. I am working on the Country Cottage Needleworks Snow Village designs, and I finished I think it's actually technically number 2 in the series, the Skates and Sleds Shop. And this is stitched with the Called For threads, which is a mix of DMC. So, you know, like the white is DMC Blanc, and, you know, some of the colors are just DMC colors. But it does have some classic colorworks in it, including hickory sticks for the roof of the building, and then I can't remember the names of all of them, but the siding of the house and the door, those were also classic colorworks, as well as the lighter green color. And then I stitched this on misty blue fabric that I found at a LNS that I don't believe is technically is being made anymore. So yeah, there's that. So that's the other finish. I guess I really didn't talk about this before. I did technically start the second one, and by second I mean the next one that I'm working on. I don't remember, let's see, which pattern do I have in the bag here? The Snowflake Stand is the next one I'm going to be working on, and I believe I brought these over to my friends when I went to sew that pillow, and I just secured the edges of my fabric with her sewing machine, and so this is what I had with me, and I was hanging out there for a while, so I just went ahead and started this one, but I'm not very far on it, and wasn't really planning to work on it a lot really until like January and February, once my other Christmas designs went away. So technically that's another whip or another new start that I have going, but so that's another finish. All right. And then, oh, I need to go grab it. All right, I'm back. And I turned on my Christmas tree. As you might be able to see through my glasses. I'm facing my Christmas tree is right behind my camera here. But I'm running out of daylight here, as I mentioned before, literally. So turn the lights on to hopefully give me an extra boost as I finish out the video here. But my last finish to show you was also a new start since my last video. Kathy Haberman, Hands On Design. As you can tell, I really love her stuff. She's great. But she released a little Christmas freebie pattern, and it's probably still available if you go to her Instagram page. I believe she still has a link for it. Don't hold me to that. Definitely check out her Instagram if you want this. So I actually started this and finished it within a matter of a few days. I brought it when we did some traveling over the holidays here. We went to visit my in-laws at their winter home in Florida, and I started it while we were there, and I finished it while we were there. And here it is. It is the Berries in Bloom is what she called it, and it's just a little freebie Christmas pattern. It's, you know, it's not very big, ornament sized, you know, kind of finished it into a fairly big ornament, but I just thought that was so adorable, and I loved the colors, the different shades of, you know, pink and red, and then the greens, the back stitching. The focus is okay. The back stitching with the brown there. I just thought it was too cute, and I just had to do it. So I used she called for just DMC with this one, which was nice. I had most of the colors on hand. I had to purchase a few of them when I was out and about. And then I had just this piece of antique white Belfast linen. I think I had a mistake with my 1, 2, 3 stitch order, and I had a couple of these scraps from something that they had done. So that story's not important, but so I stitched it on there. So that was a fun little finish here, start and finish in December, and hence why I didn't get as far on some of my other projects as I was planning. I was hoping to have Hello Dear done by Christmas, but this was a fun one to do instead. So that's all I have for my finishes for 2020. I do have plenty of other projects that I've worked on or started. You can go to my first video to see anything that's really Christmas or winter related that I maybe didn't show here. but I have a few other whips and things that are not Christmas related, but I also haven't worked on in a while. So I plan to show, kind of maybe do a full whip parade in a future video to show some of those other things, but hopefully I'll be getting them out soon here too. We'll just have to see. So that wraps up my 2020 finishes. So next thing to discuss, I guess, could be my 2021 plans. However, that might be a little bit of a boring conversation because I really don't have any. I think I just decided to play it by ear, kind of figure out what works for me. I know I've heard a lot of things about different challenges people have done, different ways they kind of structure the projects that they're working on at what time. If you, like many people, watch Priscilla and Chelsea. I still haven't watched all of their videos, like I mentioned last time, but they have Santa Sundays and Witchy Wednesdays and those kinds of things. So I might test out some of those. I've been focusing on Christmas for the last month, but going forward, maybe I'll implement Santa Sunday or something like that. Stitch Mania will come up, probably quicker than we all think it will, and we'll see to what extent I kind of plan to participate in that and what that's going to look like for me. But right now, I'm just kind of continuing to go with the flow. I don't really have any big plans for my stitchy projects in 2021, other than to, continue to stitch and see what kind of comes. But that is about all I have. So thanks again for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe this video, and I look forward to making a new video here in a couple weeks. I think my goal is going to probably make a video every 3 weeks, maybe, give or take, just depending on what we have going on. But I want to, as many Flosstubers are aware, you want to make sure you have enough content, but make sure you're not just going overboard and having too much to show between your videos. So try to strike that balance here as we go. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few. Bye.